Okay, let's get some more analysis now, this time from Geoffrey Nice, joining us now from Canterbury in the UK. He's the former lead prosecutor of the UN International Criminal Court, so a warm welcome to you. Now, internationally accepted rules of armed conflict emerged other than the 1949 Geneva Conventions, and they're expected to be adhered to. In your view, have any war crimes been committed by either side in this conflict?
It's probably not helpful for a mere commentator like me to start saying war crimes have been committed, although I think the time has probably already come when leaders should be prepared to say that if they make that decision. Delaying saying it doesn't help, but a commentator's of little value compared with a world leader. The initial attack by Hamas or those supporting Hamas in the south of Israel certainly has all the elements of a war crime because there's no justification for what was done. And we wait for people to have the courage to say, if that's their view, that is what's happened, and then to modulate or to adapt their relationship with both Israel and Gaza accordingly. On the other hand, the conduct by Israel, for example, in threatening starvation, and in particular in destroying buildings, houses, which either were known to contain civilians or which would reasonably be expected to include killing of civilians, would also almost certainly merit consideration for war crimes and might allow leaders to say as much. So I think that's the best answer I can give to you at the moment. And there's something I'd like to add about Israel, but you ask your next question.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask, because the International Criminal Court, it recognises Palestine as a member state, while Israel actually rejects the court's jurisdiction and does not formally engage with it. Does that mean you can't try anyone for a war crime in this case?
Well, the acknowledgement of, or the acceptance of jurisdiction by Palestine Authority in 2015, after Operation Protective Edge, has been said recently, a couple of days ago, to be a jurisdiction that extends to the present circumstance. So they can certainly investigate it. And if they find crimes have been committed or may have been committed, they can go forward with that, and they can indeed open a proper investigation and then consider issuing warrants. What we know is that Israel will not cooperate. And I think what's very important, if I can just add this point, and perhaps it'll guide you in future contributors to your program. In modern day warfare, where you're using targeted weapons, each weapon should be each missile should be justified by a military decision, usually supported by legal consideration. So you'll have attorney generals of other countries, Iraq, for example, and UK, where leading lawyers have gone through the process of justifying particular targets. It would be fascinating in a ghastly way to discover what, if any, justification, target by target, and coming attack by attack, if there's a ground attack, Israel makes available to the West for it to assess whether these are justified proportionate attacks or whether they may be war crimes. And I think your viewers will be assisted at some stage by knowing the level of granular detail into which attack decisions have to descend.
And Geoffrey, just before we carry on, I just want to let our viewers know that right now they're looking at live footage from Sana. You can see it's a solidarity protest for Palestine because people are waving their flags, and it looks like hundreds of people are out there showing their support. I wanted to ask, because the International Criminal Court, it already has ongoing investigations into allegations of war crimes and crimes against humanity and committed in the occupied Palestinian territories, and this has been going on since 2021. How long do these cases take?
One might ask how long they should take first. They shouldn't take this long. And the slow speed of the Palestinian investigation, with the various hurdles it's gone through with judges and the prosecutor, may be thought to be unfortunate. Of course, the court is underfunded. There are many countries that are hostile to it,
Yeah.
such as America. And you always wonder whether the speed of progress is determined not by capacity, but by political consideration. Whereas for the 2014 Operation Protective Edge incident that gave rise to the 2015 acceptance of jurisdiction, which continues to this day, whereas I suppose that could be categorized as not quite as grave as some others, and therefore not requiring the most immediate allocation of resources, this cannot conceivably be considered other than as grave as anything could be. And I hope that the prosecutor, Mr. Khan of the International Criminal Court, really puts speed behind his actions, and that the judges do the same thing. We all need the court to work. We all need the principles that were derived after the Second World War of resolving matters not by warfare, but by either negotiation, or if you have to have attacks of any kind, one kind or another, by legal analysis of them as soon as possible. We all need that. We, the citizens, we, the victims, I'm not a victim, but the victims to whom all our focus should be given. And I'm afraid things don't move fast enough sometimes, because sometimes politicians don't want them to move any faster than they do.
Well, that's a conversation for another day, Geoffrey. Thank you so very much indeed. That's Geoffrey Nice there, joining us from Canterbury in the UK, a former lead prosecutor of the UN International Criminal Court. Thank you so much.